Well, hello, this is Peter Combs from Bidamount.com and P.O. Combs Asian Art in Gloucester, Massachusetts. And today is Wednesday, February 19th, 2020. And today we're going to take a look and see how things have been going over on the auction results over on the global, on the member pages, things that we've included. There's a lot, but we're going to go through some of the interesting things that have gone through. One of the things I wanted to mention before we get started, we'll get back to that pair of bronzes in a minute. Asia Week in New York, the auctions for Sotheby's, Christie's, and Bonhams, and I think Heritage and maybe Doyle's. I'm not sure about Doyle's, but the other three have canceled their auctions or postponed them from March until later on in the spring, in May to June. Because of the coronavirus scare. They just were too nervous that people aren't going to be able to get over, I suspect, from China, travel, and restrictions, and who knows what might happen. They could have a total shutdown or something, and then you don't have any bidders. So they've decided to postpone it, which is a wise thing to do given what's going on. Fortunately, the disease seems to be getting more and more under control. So let's hope they get there quickly, very quickly. All right, now let's hop over here. This was a pair of these Chinese, probably on Wattman paper, English paper, watercolors made for export around 1800 to 1810 typically. And these were very interesting. These were being sold by Bronx, and they are porcelain processing, which makes them very, very interesting. And look at this. They went for a bargain. I hope one of you got these. $1,000 for the pair. Typically, these sell for $1,000 to $1,300 a piece or more. And for porcelain making, which is one of the most popular subject matters that they did on these, they did different subject matters, rice production and carving and all kinds of crafts. They depicted occupational themes. This was a very, very good buy for someone. Bravo. All right, and then over here to this, the pair of bronzes. These were being sold by an auction house down in Florida, and we included them because the description was wrong. They, in our opinion, they had them down as Ming style, and they had a very low estimate, $400 to $600 or something. And here they are. They were really beautiful, and they looked perfectly fine to me. I couldn't imagine why they thought they were style, and they were estimated, $400 to $600. They ended up selling for $18,000. Because they were just wonderful. So if you got them, good. They were worth it. That's the right price range for these. These were also pretty good size. If you came over to look at them, they were a foot tall each, which is pretty good for a pair of these bronzes. They're absolutely elegant, and they had very nice surfaces. So good going. And then we hop over here and we get to the Rob Michaels sale. We had done a video on it a couple of weeks ago. Rob had let us know he was doing the sale, and we wanted to do the video because we like Rob and we like the stuff he sells. And here it is. And the sale overall did really well. It was a good sale. They had a couple of lots withdrawn. It looks like maybe some consigners got nervous over the coronavirus thing, maybe. I don't know. I don't know why you withdraw them because it was already set up and going. But if they withdrew them because they thought they wouldn't do well, they made a mistake, because this auction overall did very, very well. They had only a few things not sell. Looked like maybe less than 10%, maybe less than 5%. It seemed to be a very high sell-through rate, and everything brought within the estimates. Rob's estimates, just so you know, Rob's estimates are sort of not on the stiff side, but they could be a little bit up there. But he doesn't put up with big reserves. He'll give you a good estimate, but he's not going to let you get away with some crazy reserve on things. So as a buyer, it's good to know. All right, and you had these plates, this beautiful pair of Japanese late 17th century VOC Dutch East India Company plates, very nice, a pair, and good quality, and they sold for 6,000 euros, which is the dollar right now is trading about $1.10 to the euro, something like that, I think. So I'll give you a rough idea. So it's a little over $6,000 US. Beautiful, beautiful pair of dishes. And what's interesting is that also on the pages right now, on the global pages right now, is another one. This is a single, also made in Arita. It's a little more loosely drawn. I think it's maybe a little older. And it's right now, it hasn't sold yet. It sells in a few days. It's got 3 days to go, and it's got one bid of $100. So if you're thinking of bidding on it, you have a fairly good idea of what it might be worth. If a pair of them just sold for $6,000, and this one's a little more provincial, so you're coming in at about $1,000 to $1,500 minimum for the plate. If you get it for under that, you stole it. So have at it. All right, now on to this. This was that wonderful celadon ground slip decorated vase. Rob does really well with vases. They must be big sellers in Europe, and especially big vases. He tends to get these monstrous vases. This was one of them. This was over 30 inches tall, 19th century Qing dynasty, the classical form. This form, we've seen it. We're going to see a few more of these with the same shape but with different decorations. It's fascinating how many different colorations they used on these. But this was an absolute gem of a big vase. I just loved it. And it ended up selling for 5,000 euros, which I think was a bargain. I think that was an absolute bargain for what that was. And I think whoever bought it probably knows that too. It's just a terrific thing. And then we're going to mosey over to this pair of vases. These are big. These are almost 36 inches. They're about 35 inches tall, beautifully done. Famille rose, 19th century. You could pull it in and get a good look at it. The gilding on the foo lines were all nice. The tails were, look at that, not broken, in good shape. And the enamels were in very, very nice condition on these. Rob also takes very good photos, so it's fun to go and look at the stuff because, as you can see, you can really get the details out of it. But if you look at it, the quality of the work was nice, the shading, the facial expressions, all of it was very pleasing. And this pair of vases sold for 13,000 euros. Not an enormous surprise. Bear in mind, they were 88 centimeters tall, so they were basically 80. How tall were they? They were 3 feet tall, 35 inches, just about on the nose. Big vases. There aren't many of these around. And I said that, and then here's another one, a single of almost an identical pattern, which is sort of interesting. This is a big single vase. Again, same sort of gilded foo lines on the neck, same chimeras, very similar figural scenes, and so forth. And this one sold for 5,000 euros. All right, so a pair of them sold for 13,000 euros, and a single sold for 5. And that's about right. You pay a premium for pairs. All right, because you don't get pairs as often, but this was still a wonderful vase. I do like the celadon one that brought the same amount. If I had my choice, I'd take that. But at any rate, that's just me. All right, and then on to here is another big pair of Famille Rose celadon ground vases, again in this giant class over 30 inches tall. I think these were 87 centimeters tall, something like that. But very nice quality decoration again. Very innovative, good solid ground, and I love the way they used multicolors on the foo lines on these. They were really, really interesting. And these ended up selling for 6,000 euros, and they were 92 centimeters, so these were over 36 inches tall. These were very, very big. And they may have brought that price. They may have had some sort of repair or restoration to them. I didn't see the condition report. It's the only explanation I could have. Maybe there was an old break around the rim or something, some sort of minor issue that got fixed. Here's a picture of the bottom. Here's the mouths, so forth. They look pretty good. So I don't know. Anyway, I think that was a very nice buy. And then we get on to these, a beautiful pair, a rose medallion, a big pair of vases. Nice ground. These are mid-19th or slightly earlier vases, 1840, something like that. Beautiful quality, nicely done all the way to the bottom. And these were also over 30 inches tall, as I recall. We'll check in a second. And they brought 6,500 euros, which is a very fair price, and they were 36.5 inches tall. These were great big vases. So it was a good chance if you're looking for big vases. Boy, this was a good auction to go to. And then on to these. This is that pair of late 19th, early 20th century bottle vases, but they were also big. They were up around 20 inches tall. They had chin lung marks, but they were probably late 19th, early 20th century, though they look pretty convincing. But I agree with Rob that they were later. And but still, they did very, very well. They brought 32,000 euros with a 30 to 60,000 euro estimate. The estimate was slightly strong, but this number, this 32,000 euros, tells you that the hammer price was well below 30,000 because of the buyer's premium. So that was a pretty good buy. And then on to this, the Kangxi charger. I loved this. We talked about this last week, and I liked it because the enamels were all in such good condition. And if you look at it, up close and just sit and look at it for a second and scan around. You're not going to find wear. There wasn't much wear to it at all. The facial expressions are good. I don't know the story behind this particular scene. You'd have to talk to Yib and Ni or somebody, and they could break it down for you and tell you what it is. And but just a wonderful thing of women galloping on horses, on a pink horse, no less. Pink and yellow horses. How much fun is that? And I love the border decoration of the lady sitting at the table, teaching a child and so forth. Just beautiful. And this had a fairly good size estimate on it, and it did just fine. It brought 26,000 euros. It had one bid, just one bid. And I don't know why that is. That was a heck of a nice charger, but it sold. All right. And then on to this, the very, very big pair of famille jars. They were wonderful. They were estimated, I think, 20 to 40,000 euros. Just quite nice. And they did pretty well. They ended up selling for 22,000 euros. Just handsome. And then on to the armorial export plate. This was a big plate. This plate was 38 centimeters. So it was a charger. It had the Friesland family crest on it. It's actually written on it. And it brought 10,000 euros. A handsome plate, though, and beautiful. There were a number of very good armorial plates in this auction between the 2 days. If you're an armorial collector, always check Rob's sales out for it. And then they got onto this. This was really something. This was a very rare dated, and I didn't mention it in the video last week because I actually missed it first time through when we were getting the pictures together. This is a really nice Ming Dynasty, Jingtai interregnum period Buddhist painting, and it was dated 1452, I think, something like that. Hold on, 1454. Silk painting. Look what it brought. 210,000 euros. The interregnum period was a very short time span in the 15th century, and there wasn't a lot of artwork done then. Often Jingtai marks are often associated, if you follow cloisonné, with the mark on certain pieces of cloisonné, and they look for the Jingtai mark. But anyway, this painting was just wonderful, beautiful facial expressions, and these are fairly big. This was 170 by 115 centimeters, so it was a pretty good sized painting. But if you took the time to look at it, the decoration, the facial expression, the coloring, all of the cloud drawing, all of this was just stupendous, just really, really beautiful. And it ended up bringing 210,000 euros, or around 225,000 US. Beautiful example. And then on back to this. This was that Japanese bronze that I liked so much with the relief work that had the very, very cool sort of rusticated red enameling to highlight the fish. I just thought this was a great thing. And this was big. This was a good-sized pot. And it ended up selling for 3,600 euros. It's Meiji period, Japanese. But it was big. It was 54 centimeters tall. So it was it was around 20 inches tall, roughly. But very, very big example and very pretty. Very, very pretty. And then there was a lot of blue and white. If you were a blue and white collector, I hope you took part in this sale, because Rob always has a ton of good blue and white. A lot of late Ming transitional Kangxi and Qinlong blue and white. And this was a nice transitional period vase. It was sort of a large one. It was around 14 to 15 inches tall. Had a nice garlic neck on it. Beautifully decorated. This one had the scene of men and women. They're outside. They're playing Go. And what's on the other side? Okay, it's got the wispy clouds going down the side and all that business. And the other thing I would suggest you do, if you like this stuff, one of the things Rob does do, and it's a great reference. You don't have to look at it today, but in the future, if you see something and you want to get a look at some foot rims, go to Rob's site and pull up his past sales and go through, because he does a really good job showing the bottoms of things. They really take the time to do it properly, so you get a good look at the foot rim, and that's what the foot rim on a transitional vase should look like, sort of a creamy white. You can see the knife cut marks. It doesn't have a lot of scraping lines on it like somebody was trying to make it look old, and it's got this very nice bluish tone to it with a little bit of pitting here and there. All right, they can fake pitting, but they can't fake all of that. Anyway, this sold for 8,500 euros, which is a pretty good price. But as I said, it was nicely done, and it was fairly large. All right, and then on to this. This was a Wanli teapot, and this form is very common. They make a lot of them, but the color on this I just thought was wonderful. The depth of the cobalt on this really made it a standout. Typically, these teapots had the blue tended to be lighter, tended to be a little thinner, a much softer blue. This was a good, strong blue. This was like the blue you'd see on late Qing period pieces in the Ming Dynasty. Nice, deep, solid colors. And the handles were, I love the big circles running up them, and the way the spout was done with the flames coming down it. Just a beautiful piece. And it brought 4,400 euros. There was another one very, very similar to it that was in the sale, and I don't think it even sold. And it was estimated slightly lower, but this was just such a killer piece. I think everybody chased it. All right. Nice looking thing. And then on to this, the late Ming or Kangxi lacquer pieces right here. This is a beautiful set. We looked at these last week. Here's the backs. There are the cups and trays. Very nice quality. And they brought 2,600 euros, which is a pretty good price for those. The estimate was 1,000 to 2,000 euros. But that's a perfectly good price, and they're very nice. They're really, really nice. Beautiful mother of pearl in particular on these. They're really very pretty. And then on to here, we had talked before about these occupational paintings in China. Here's a set of 4 of them, this is, I believe, rice harvesting. And look at this, the price of them: 4,800 euros for all 4 of them. Okay, these are tea production. Excuse me, and 4,800 euros for the 4, so around $1,200 a piece. 1,200 euros a piece, which is right about what they should have brought. So whoever got those porcelain making watercolors a couple of days before this from Bronx, you did a great job. You got them for 500 each. All right, and now on to this. This might be one of the best pieces of carved coral I've ever seen. This was an absolutely stupendous piece of coral, probably late Qing, but boy, what a carving. And I hope you took the time to look at it. The elephant, the expression, the texture of the elephant hide, the toes, all the little aspects, the folds of the robes, the upside down foot, the inverted foot, the facial expression, the way the scrolls are done, the beadwork, the whole thing, and the coloration of the coral running, the veins running through the mandala. Just an absolutely killer package. And apparently the buyers thought so too. It had a 4,000 to 8,000 euro estimate. It ended up selling for 28,000 euros. But it was a gem. And it was also decent size. It was, he had it done as 19th century, 23 centimeters tall, including the stand. So they were about 8 inches tall. But that was an absolutely gem of a carving. Really, really was. And then on to this, the dated Wanli Marken period jar that I like so much. This was a great thing, and highly unusual to have a date. That makes it really different, and the decoration on it was quite excellent. And it ended up selling for 38,000 euros. It had a number of bids. It was a very handsome thing, and whoever got it got a wonderful piece of porcelain. And then on to this. This was the other Ming porcelain, the other Wanli vase, a Meiping vase, and it was a big one. Okay, this was a very good sized piece, and it did very well. How tall? I forget the height. 47 centimeters in height. So it was about 18, 19 inches tall. Sold for 62,000 euros. But a beautiful example, just a very nice example. And this pattern, this vine and lotus pattern, of course, is used throughout the Ming Dynasty on a bunch of different things, including bowls and jars and in those big wash tubs. And they used the pattern on a lot of things. But this was a handsome vase, and it did fine. And then over here, this was the pair of vases that I thought were, if I had, of all the best things in the sale, I just loved these 18th century Qing period iron red and brown enameled vases. Beautiful decoration. The phoenixes on these were just terrific. Look at the quality. Really great. Like I said, you can come over here and you can go through these, and you can really learn a lot from these pictures. You see how large these photographs get. They're absolutely worth the time to study them, and they have the foot rims for all of these. These sold for 78,000 euros, which didn't surprise me at all. These are so pretty that if you just had to have them, I could see somebody spending 150,000 on them, because you're not going to come across another pair like these anytime soon. And these were big. I'm trying to find the height on them. 81 centimeters. All right, so they were roughly 28 inches tall. Nice big vases, very, very handsome. Imagine having those in your house. Wow. Okay, and then on to this, the Kangxi gilt bronze mounted covered pot. It's a fairly well-known type of hot food pot, but in Europe they would add gilt mounts to them like this. We'll try to click through some of the pictures. There it is, the lion's mask on the end. But the thing it had going for it was that, one, this was a top quality piece of Kangxi porcelain. The decoration, the color of the paste, the beautifully shading of the blue, and this absolutely charming food lion on the top. Just a great example. Really liked this. And in the end, it sold for 5,000 euros. And this was pretty good size. This thing was about 8 inches tall. This wasn't a little table box. It was fairly good size. And it must have been in pretty good condition. But the decoration on it was excellent. I can see why they put ormolu mounts all over it. Certainly worth it. And then over to this. This was the bowl of Europa and the bowl. Chinese export footed coffee pot with silver mounts and all this other stuff. Classic European market stuff. Beautiful quality. And Europa and the bowl. There it is. And it sold for 12,000 euros. Which is a pretty good price for that. But it's a very rare form. They do turn up once in a while because they were obviously made, but they weren't made in huge numbers. So if you're a Chinese export collector of 18th century stuff from the Kangxi period, this was a good thing to get. And it was just about a foot tall, just about 30 centimeters, a little over a foot tall. So it was a nice big piece. And then onto this was this Benkarong black bowl. There were 3 of these in the sale. It was interesting. They must have come from the same collector. One of them is this deep blackish brown. Another one had a white body, and I forget what the color of the other one was. And the white one, I think it brought 3,000 euros. This one brought 2,800 euros. I liked them all. They were just wonderful and very unusual, very elegant and unusual, very understated. And then the last image is, the bronze cup. This was that cup that I thought was so terrific, and I actually thought about it quite a lot. I was thinking of buying it. I didn't, but a beautiful Ming example, and it ended up selling for, I think it sold for over its estimate, and I think it was a very fair price when you consider what it was. It sold for 2,600 euros. But keep in mind that this is rarer and more unusual than a lot of incense burners that turn up on the market fairly often and end up selling for $8,000 or $10,000 or $15,000. This was a heck of a lot rarer thing, and had beautiful quality and was in good condition from what I could see. So whoever got it for 2,600 euros or about 3,000 US, they got a heck of a nice thing on their hands, and there was a bit of competition for it. But overall, it's been an interesting last week. Rob's stuff did great. The other things that we've been watching on there have done very well. And we've gotten some nice emails from people who are enjoying the global pages, which is nice. So keep checking it. And that's it, okay? And Rob's have another sale probably in a couple of months. And we'll be updating the pages regularly. If you haven't subscribed to us yet on YouTube, please do. Give us a thumbs up if you like the videos, and come over to Bidamount, use the site, use the newsletter pages, and learn more about the global pages. They're getting a lot of interest because it saves everybody so much time. Just saves you a lot of time. All right. Have a great week. We'll be back Friday with the regular video. Until then, I hope you find something out there you have to have. All right. Bye-bye.